but you have Africa face. Welcome back to my channel. I am back. I am back from China. Now, of course, having gone to Asia before, this was my first time though going to China, and a lot of people asked me the same question: what was it like traveling through China being black? Because a lot of the stories that you hear that people want to touch your hair, people want to touch your skin to see if it comes off, and those are the same stories that I also heard from others, and those are also the videos that I watched on YouTube. But I thought, hey, let me share with you my experience because it was completely different than any of the stories that I've heard before on YouTube. So here it goes. I have a list of all the things that I want to talk about, so I make sure to cover everything that is important regarding my race and traveling through China. So first, let me start with the amount of other black people that I saw. My friend that lives in Hong Kong told me that this was kind of an anomaly, but the first day that I was in Hong Kong, I already saw 5 other black people. Now for me, that was like an affirmation that, oh, I'm not alone. But she told me that that is actually quite rare to see others. She lives there and she hardly sees any other black people. So for me, it was like, oh, okay, well that sets the tone for my visit here in China. And it actually did, because in every city that I went to, I saw at least like 1 or 2 others. And you know, normally black people do this head nod thingy, like hi, and acknowledge each other. They didn't do that at all. I was staring at them, waiting for the acknowledgement, and I was completely ignored by them. Now about the staring, this is something that's just normal in, I think, every country I've been to in Asia. I've been to South Korea, of course, because I did my exchange there. I've been to Tokyo, and now I've been to 3 different cities in China, and everywhere I go, people stare at me. So I kind of got used to the staring, as in I know it's going to happen, so I'm prepared for that. But what I also mentally prepared myself for China was the touching, because just like everybody else, knowing I was going to China, I decided to look at different YouTube videos, and everybody said, oh, they're going to want to take pictures with you, they're going to think you're a celebrity, they're going to want to touch your hair. So I went prepared. I mean, I was all prepared. I had my glasses, had my idea of I'm going to walk around there like Beyonce, and then they're going to ask me, are you Beyonce? And I'd be like, no. I had this whole plan figured out. I went with my wig because it's like, if people are going to touch my hair, I'm just going to let them touch something that was made in China and not my own hair. But when I got there, no one, like absolutely nobody approached me for pictures. Nobody wanted to touch my hair. I mean, it was kind of disappointing. I was so hyped up and ready, you know. I was like, touch me, and nobody did. So that was actually, yeah, it's that you see, the experience is very different. It might be because I was in the southern part, which is traditionally a bit more international, or that's what my friends that lived there told me. But no, the only thing I got was a lot of stares, but nobody touched my hair, touched my skin. The one thing I had though was during my foot massage that I had in broken Mandarin / their broken English, my masseuse tried to make clear to me that he found it funny that my skin, or interesting, let me say that my skin is dark, but then the inside of my hand and my feet are light. They couldn't wrap their head around how that works. Another very funny episode that happened though, that regarding people staring at me and looking at me, was in Shenzhen. We were waiting for our private bus to take us to one of the companies we were going to visit, and this guy walks past me, and we have this, you know, this moment of eye contact that just seems to last forever. Then he walks past the group and past me, but for the next 200 meters, and I guess in American terms yards, he kept turning around every 5 seconds and look at me, walk, look at me. So then I decided, okay, I'm going to wave. I'm not just going to stare at him. So I started waving, and he was like surprised. And the next time he turned around, he started waving. So we had this kind of a wave war thing going on the whole time until he disappeared. And for me, that's really funny because I find it fascinating that I draw so much attention just being who I am and just being there. But I noticed that people are very friendly, they're just very curious. They are not doing it maliciously, it's just that you are a stranger to them. And the same thing happened to a guy in my group. He's Dutch, and I mean really Dutch. He's tall, blonde, blue eyes. I mean, he's so light-skinned and light-haired that he basically just lights up. And it's handy when you have to find him in a crowd, but it also means that he and I standing together was kind of like an attraction for people. So they would look at us and they would ask us if we were a couple, just because we were the odd ones out. And we were like, no, 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 just friends, just friends. So that just, it's not just because I was me being black, it's just because me being a foreigner and being black just makes me stand out more. Just like him being very white and light makes him stand out. So curiosity is actually what it's all about. And just because this is my experience doesn't mean it will be your experience. It's just everybody's experience is different depending on who you're with, where you are in China, how you dress. There's a lot of aspects to being noticed and being stared at in China. Now the one time that I really felt, I wouldn't want to say awkward, but I felt a bit weird was being stereotyped by Chinese people who actually have had contact with black people. So when we went to this university visit in Guangzhou, 2 of the MBA students that were there lived in Africa for quite a long time. One lived in Tanzania for 7 years and one lived in another country, Nigeria, I think, for so many years. And we were having dinner and they served okra, which I did not expect to find in China, but they had okra on ice, which is amazing. And they were talking about, well, what is this? The other people didn't really know what it was, and they were explaining what okra was. And then one turns to me and be like, oh, yes, you know okra, right? You're from Africa. I'm like, I'm not from Africa, but I know okra. So that was, they kind of assume just because you're black that you're from Africa. And the other one, actually, while we were walking around campus, came to talk to me and he was like, yes, so where in Africa are you from? I'm like, I'm not from Africa. I'm from the Caribbean. He's like, oh, but you have Africa face. At that moment I was like, what? What is an Africa face? Like, what does he mean? I was so confused in that moment. Because I'm like, even people in Africa themselves, every country, I find people look different. But for him, it's like, you have Africa face. And I've been to Africa once, and that was Egypt. I mean, that's what I tell people. They're like, yeah, but probably because you're black. And I'm like, yeah, it's probably because I'm black that he thinks that I'm from Africa. That he didn't really ask me where in the world I was from, just where in Africa are you from. Now, I'm almost done. This is my last part for this video because I'm going to have other videos really a bit more of a vlog of all the cities, what I did and what I ate, because it was a lot of food. But this last question I also got asked a lot, and I was also worried about it before I went to China, and that was immigration. Because especially in Guangzhou, there's a big African community, and a lot of black people there are stopped regularly and checked on their papers and their passports. So I always made sure that I had my passport with me at all times, because if they were to stop me and check my visa and everything, I would be okay. But nothing happened with immigration. I went through the border from Hong Kong to Shenzhen easily, at the airport, just in malls, when I passed police officers. Nobody even gave me a second look in that way, that they would find me suspicious or anything. I had no problem with immigration whatsoever. So if that is something that you're worried about, don't be. Just make sure you have your papers, you have your visa, and everything is A-okay, and nothing will really happen. So if you have any other questions about my experience in China, if you want to know more about how I went to China, what I did to be able to go there, then just ask them down below. Don't forget to like, subscribe to my channel, and stay up to date for all the other videos that I'm going to bring out. And I will see you guys next time. Thank you for watching. Mwah!